After Venezuelan leader Nicolás Maduro was captured by U.S. forces and brought to federal court in New York to face charges that include narco-terrorism and cocaine trafficking, legal experts say his defense team has several powerful tools at its disposal that could dramatically delay or complicate the case. Maduro and his wife Cilia Flores appeared in the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York this week and both pleaded not guilty. The high-profile case centered on allegations that Maduro and his inner circle conspired to traffic cocaine into the United States as part of a broader narco-terrorism enterprise now faces legal headwinds that could slow the path to a trial for years. One of the foremost strategies expected from Maduro's lawyers is an immunity argument. As a sitting head of state, at least in the view of the Venezuelan government and some international observers, Maduro's team could argue he is entitled to broad legal protections that would make criminal prosecution in the United States inappropriate or unlawful. U.S. courts have rarely grappled with criminal immunity claims by foreign leaders, and historical precedents, such as the prosecution of Panama's Manuel Noriega in the early 1990s, indicate that such claims are deeply contested. However, because the United States government has formally refused to recognize Maduro as Venezuela's legitimate president since 2024, prosecutors argue that he cannot claim the protections that typically accompany official diplomatic status under U.S. law. Maduro has already framed his apprehension as an unlawful kidnapping by U.S. forces, and his legal team is expected to press this line vigorously. Although U.S. courts generally hold that the legality of an arrest abroad does not automatically bar prosecution if the defendant is brought before a judge, this argument could still be used to suppress evidence or argue that the case is fundamentally illegitimate. Moreover, international legal scholars and critics have condemned the U.S. operation as a breach of Venezuela's sovereignty, warning it could set a dangerous precedent, even if it doesn't directly derail criminal proceedings. Because the government's case may rely on sensitive national security information, including intelligence from international partners and undercover sources, Maduro's defense could seek access to classified material. In cases involving national security or covert operations, legal teams sometimes engage in a tactic known as graymail, where they pressure prosecutors to disclose classified material or risk weakening their case. This maneuver can drag out pretrial litigation and even force prosecutors to narrow or abandon aspects of their case. Foreign drug trafficking and narco-terrorism prosecutions often hinge on cooperation from witnesses who have insider knowledge. Maduro's lawyers could challenge the credibility or admissibility of such testimony, especially if witnesses are deemed unreliable or if prosecutors are unwilling to reveal sensitive sources. Additionally, a death or disappearance of key government witnesses, like what occurred in a past foreign narcotics trial, could impede prosecutors' ability to present a complete case. Beyond courtroom skirmishes, broader political dynamics could shape the proceedings. Opposition leaders, foreign governments, and international bodies have all weighed in on the legality and legitimacy of Maduro's capture and trial. Challenges at the United Nations or through diplomatic pressure could influence negotiations and legal interpretations down the line. Unless and until the U.S. court definitively hears arguments on immunity, evidence, and the legitimacy of the arrest, the path to trial remains uncertain. Even if the case proceeds, experts caution that appeals and procedural hurdles could stretch the proceedings for years. This is EmergeNCNews.